What is going on, chat? Welcome back to another video. You guys see the video, the title, I was able to make $13,000 in only 2 trading days. And not only that, but I actually recorded both times, because one of the times I just recorded myself for a YouTube video of me like looking at the trade, executing it, going throughout the whole trade, closing the partials, as well as the second trade I actually took with my mentorship and was able to make this entire trade for that entire $13,000. So stay tuned. I'm gonna go and break down the entire trades. Hope you guys like the video. Stay tuned. Let's go. All right, chat. So after a profitable week in the markets, I had to go treat myself with something, because we work so hard Monday through Friday that if you don't actually take some of that money, withdraw and go do something with it, then it's not really worth anything. So the first thing that you guys will see in a couple of weeks, I actually did go and buy 2 plane tickets to Dubai. Can't wait to do that. Dubai is about to be a movie, so I'm gonna treat myself to that. But then also, I've been looking at everyone wearing these Apple headphones. I know a lot of you guys see them too, like the big ones on the side of the head, and I've always looked at them and been like, maybe they're overhyped. But I asked Ollie. Ollie always wears his, and I was like, bro, is it worth the hype? And he told me it was. So we're here at Best Buy now, about to go in. I'm gonna go treat myself to some of those headphones, because they're like $500-600 just for those little headphones. I know I'm gonna need them for the flight to Dubai. So let's go pick up a pair right now. It's honestly raining right now, and I feel like every time I do a freaking video, it's raining. But I'll take you guys along with me. Let's go. Give you a look at the baby today. Damn, it actually is raining. What the hell? Fuck that shit. All right, Best Buy. I know for a fact they're probably gonna make me not let me record, so let's see. Excuse me, where can I find the Apple headphones? Yeah. All right, boom, here we go, chat. We found the Apple headphones, like I said, but they're like $600, but they're worth it. I'm gonna see what pair they have, but I think I'm gonna get like a white or a gray pair. We'll see. This is like a dark gray. Let's see what they have. All right, chat, honestly kind of annoying. The silver like white ones I wanted, they have them, but it comes with the old Apple charger. I want the new USB-C, so I don't have to like carry so many chargers. So the 2 colors that I could pick from is like this like champagne, here, let me see it. It's like this champagne kind of white one, or just these like, you'd think these look black, but they're not. If you saw them in person, these are not black. They're like almost like dark blue. So I'm gonna go for the champagne ones. I want the light thing. I think it's gonna go with like more stuff. Have them going to get it right now. I'm probably gonna go buy them, check them out. Let's go. This is so fun. I got this while we're here, but you see we're here with all the Apple stuff. I get this notification. Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway's firm cut 25% of their Apple stock in the 3rd quarter. So I think all this is gonna go down. Boom, there you can go. Look at that, chat. Boom, I'm gonna go home and actually put them on my head, and we'll see how we look like. Bro, all right, so first off, I can barely hear you guys. The noise cancellation in these are a little insane. I feel like I'm deaf. And it sounds like a little rude. Can't even hear myself talk, so I'm gonna take this off for a second, but I definitely approve. With taxes and stuff, it ended up being like $605, something like that, which, you know, you might think is crazy for some headphones, but for someone like me, who's always like inside on my office doing work and stuff, like I like to just zone in, put some headphones on, especially when I go like work out. I'm actually about to go to the beach, probably put these on, just walk around, all type of stuff. So definitely a good cop. I love music. I love listening to podcasts and everything. So these are definitely needed, especially for the Dubai trip. It's like a 20-hour flight, and the flight back's like 24 hours. So these are definitely gonna come in clutch. But if you're gonna get anything out of this video, it's that if you guys go and work hard for something during the week, especially in trading, it's like if you make money in your trading account, if you don't actually take some of that money, withdraw, and then spend it, why'd you make it in the first place? I'm not saying go and blow money you don't have to have, but like guys, this is a small percentage of what I even made. These are only $600. So it's like, yes, they're expensive for headphones, but overall, go treat yourself, guys. Make sure that you reward yourself for your hard work. Even if it's the smallest things, if you guys have a great trading week on that Friday, go to your favorite food spot and get your favorite freaking meal, get an extra thing on the side, whatever it is, make it a little bit more expensive and treat yourself like a king that you are, or queen. I know there's some queens out there as well, but guys, just really lock in. I know you guys got this, but new cop, love it. Stay tuned. Peace out.
This is the exact strategy I used to make $13,167 in 2 trading days. Both trading setups look similar but are unique in their own ways. I'm gonna go over all the confluences I used to take the trades. These aren't even the only trades I took this week. If you've never traded with me before, I trade live on YouTube every single week during London session for completely free. So make sure you subscribe and tune into the London sessions so you can take trades like this with me every single week. I also would like to include that both trades we're gonna go over were actually recorded in live. The first one was me wanting to record a YouTube video. It shows me before looking at the setup, why I wanted to get in, live executing it, closing the trade, all that type of stuff. And then the second trade I actually took live with my mentorship. It was all recorded. So, you know, it just goes to show that this isn't a trade that I'm just talking about afterhand, or I went input it into like a broker or whatever. No, showed you guys the live account, live broker. I'm going to show you guys the video of me actually like going into and looking for the setup, executing the setup, and then actually letting it ride and then closing all the partials you guys are seeing on the account. Before we even get into the trading setup, I want to hop over to the broker I took the trades on and show you guys I actually executed. You can see right here the 13,167 P&L. And I'm also going to scroll through the pages and show you every single trade I took and then match it up with the trading view so you can see. Once again, I'm taking it on a live broker. This is the balance, and once again, this is the P&L just from the 2 days. I'm going to go here to custom right here, and you can see I have it set to 10:01 to 10:03 because I took it on Tuesday and Thursday of this week. Hopping over to the first trade, you can see here we had a monster entry on NASDAQ where we made so much money. We're going to go over why I got into multiple positions and how I was actually able to scale that position and make more than I usually do on this one setup. But like I said, I just wanted to scroll through, show you this was the first position that I took of the week, and then this was the second position. All these like negative numbers you see are actually just break-even trades that for runners that I left that I'm going to go over, but I actually took 0 losing positions this entire week. Now let's actually go over the first trade I took and all the reasons why I got into the trade. I'm actually going to replay price. The first thing you should notice is that you actually see 2 trading setups here. You know, that's going to be important, so just wait a second. I'm going to replay price to where I took the trade at, and I'm going to go out to the hourly time frame. Now that we're on the hourly time frame, all I did when I came in that morning was look at how price was in this huge uptrend, kind of stalled out, and then had this big massive sell-off that came and then to me swept liquidity to the left over here. When I see massive levels of liquidity being swept, I actually look for reactions in these levels and in these areas because you can find good reversals based upon liquidity being swept, volume coming in, and then looking for that push that you can be a part of if you have the right knowledge, the proper confluences, and just the right reasons to get into the trade. So on top of liquidity being swept to the left, I actually ended up zooming in and then also looking at how, first off, once again, uptrend, pullback, taking out liquidity, and then reacting off this 200 smooth moving average. I kind of consider these indecision candles, and what I mean by that is that whenever we see like big dojis like this, like some people call them dojis, but I kind of call them indecision candles because it's like price does not know exactly what it wants to do anymore because we were super bearish. Now we're kind of stalling out, creating these dojis, and after I saw this big doji to the downside reaction and then this bullish doji, I was like, you know what? I want to wait for like a pullback, maybe wait for some liquidity to be taken, and then look for a trade to actually continue and break the highs to continue, and then see if we can, you know, come back up to the highs. Once I drop down to the 5-minute time frame, remember, I'm still looking for buys because of us taking liquidity to the left. We're in that pullback, we're getting the reaction off the 200 SMA, we had those indecision candles, so I'm still looking for buys on the lower time frames. And then this was added confluence, as you can see here. After New York had kind of closed, we had come getting this last little liquidity sweep that ended up coming back up and then breaking structure right here. I consider this kind of structure being broken, so the thing that I do after I see structure being broken, I'm just drawing a fib from the low up to this high. I'm gonna delete this last fib to not be confusing, but after I drew this fib, I saw after we broke structure, we actually pulled back, got a beautiful reaction off the golden zone, the 786, and started pushing back up right here. After I saw this reaction, all I did was drop down to the 1-minute time frame, saw this uptrend, and was like, you know what? I'm also gonna fib up this low to this high and then wait for a pullback to try to get an entry in here to look for the continuation because everything's lining up for my bullish bias. Dropping out of the 1-minute time frame, you see this even more clearly. This impulse leg that broke structure, the pullback into the 786, and then me refibbing this low to this high, and then this reaction happening down to the 786. I'm gonna delete this now to be a little bit cleaner, but all I waited for now was price started to consolidate after pulling back into this fib level like this. What ended up happening was price came, swept that low, then as soon as I saw price shoot back up with volume, I actually got into my first position right here. I like this entry because we had that liquidity sweep and then big volume pushing up that broke highs, but it was a little premature because someone like me waits for bigger levels of liquidity to be swept, not just these little 1-minute lows to then look for the reaction, because you're going to see what happens next. Because one good thing to learn is that on the 1 minute, this does look like a good liquidity sweep, but hopping out to the 5-minute, you could see there was no liquidity anywhere being swept here. Like it just didn't really follow the market structure. The real liquidity is sitting below this low. So back on the 1 minute, you can see here, I'll press play. Price ended up coming down and then sweeping this ultimate low that we were just talking about in the 5 minute, getting an instant little reaction to come back up. Once I saw this happen, I literally just drew a trend line coming down and I was like, you know what? Now that we've actually taken the liquidity I was waiting for, I might look to scale in, because if I look to get an entry here, price should at least shoot back up to my first entry. And my whole premise and what I wanted to do at first was, you know what, if I get into a position here and then we get back into profit with this position, I'll go stops at break even with this first position and then just stay in this one, right? Because it's just better to have a lower entry, because if price pulls back, you have a deeper stop loss where it has room to breathe, rather than being in this trade where the stop loss was almost hit on this trade. But it ended up not being hit. I saw that kind of indecision candle happen, and guess what? Once I saw this last liquidity sweep, you're gonna see price ended up shooting up, and I got into a second position right in here. I think like right in here. Got into a second position, price kind of consolidated and then instantly kind of shot up. Once price shot up, it did exactly what I wanted, where now we're back in profit on both positions. And what happens next is actually very, very key. So after I saw this pullback, I wasn't in enough profit to kind of go break even. So what I waited for was price to kind of break back above, and then I started trailing my stop loss. What that means is that because I was looking for price to go bullish, every higher low, I basically was just trailing my stop loss. So if price were to come back and break this low, then guess what? I would have got hit break even. But if I press play, you'll see that price never ended up pulling back. So this is actually the reason I was able to make so much more on this position, is because I actually got into not only one position, but was in double my risk. But like I said, it was calculated risk, because I understood, yes, I was in double my risk, but I was looking for this quick reaction up and then was gonna go stops to break even to mitigate my risk, and then only have that one position in, because then it would just be regular risk. But after we got the push up, I put my stops to break even on that first position, and it never came back. We just flew all the way to the highs. So these were the entries on that first position. We can hop over here and you can see how much money I made, where my entry price was, all that type of stuff. Here, how to pop out so you can see kind of the whole thing. But these are the buy positions I got in. You can see these is where I closed partials. We're gonna go over why in a second. And you can see here, these are the last little runners I left of the two positions I got into, but ultimately these were the big winners that I had. And these were like the first positions I closed, and then finally closing all that, and I'm gonna show you right now. So there's really two reasons why I look to close partials in this area, and a majority of partials. One of the reasons is collecting data. I have years of data backing me up that the average risk to reward my trades go to is a 1 to 3. I've learned time and time again, when I get into a winning trade, most of the time the place that price ends up going to is a 1 to 3. It doesn't matter if it goes to like a 1.3.4, 2.8, the average risk to reward out of all my trades is a 1 to 3 risk to reward. So the first confluence was we were already past my 1 to 3 risk to reward, so I was looking to mitigate risk, closing partials and putting my stops to break even. The second kind of confluence and reasoning to close the trade was, if you look left over here, we still had this 5-minute supply with these nice highs to take out. So what I didn't want to happen was price to come up, me being all this profit, and then to take out these highs, react out this supply, react out this 50 smooth moving average, and then move down, because it would look something like this. Whenever I see price shoot super far in one direction, what goes up's got to come down. It's got to come back and make higher lows. That's why I was trailing my stop loss. So knowing that, I was like, you know what? We moved too far up. I'm going to take my partials, take a majority of the positions off the table. I'm already up way more than I usually am, because I was in double the trades, and because we already passed my 1 to 3, and because we reacted on the supply, I closed the majority in this position and then let the rest run with my stops at break even. So what's sad if I actually press play is that, once again, majority of my positions are closed up here, but I left the trade running. Let me drag this out here. Price did not stop me at break even here. It actually kept going up. I was in this trade all day. I don't even think this is what stopped me break even. I was still in the trade. It was like the whole next day. You're gonna see it because it was wild. It was one big spike that stopped me out right there, and then it just rallied right after. Just up. Just ended up flying from there. But it was a solid trade. I'm not really sad that I got stopped to break even. I was anticipating the pull back up into here, so it was just really clean. Another major confluence I forgot to even go off of was off the 1 hour impulse coming down. One thing I've been looking for lately is, once again, if you guys know how I like to trade, I like looking for price to distribute in one direction and then pull back to at least the equilibrium, which, if you don't know the equilibrium, it's the 50% of the overall move. Once that happens, is then I can look for reactions to continue back down. But when I do see massive expansions like this and can look for reaction areas, I'll actually fib up from like this high to this low. And then, even though I consider this kind of like a bearish trend, I was like, you know what, this is where we can get a reaction in a lower time frame, kind of change of character, to look for a pullback to at least the 50% of this overall move, which is the equilibrium. So that was really it. Going to the higher time frames, looking for that pullback into a reaction area that was also taking liquidity, seeing that reaction off the 200 SMA, lining up with that liquidity zone, looking for that pullback into the equilibrium, dropping down to a lower time frame, seeing the change of character right here, which was the liquidity sweep below here, change of character right here, the pullback into the fib level, and then fibbing up this, getting into that premature position for that first position, seeing this liquidity sweep and actually scaling in to catch all this profits back up to the equilibrium. You can see here we actually got a perfect reaction off the equilibrium right here that then ended up pulling back. But a majority of my position was already closed in this area, left the rest running break even, got stop out break even right here for it to continue back up. Price ended up playing around, ended up stopping me break even here before having that last reaction back up to this equilibrium. But it actually is a good example of if you have a trade idea, which for me was looking for that pullback in the equilibrium. If it happens, close your partials, take a majority of your position out, pay yourself. Don't let it just keep running because you think it's just gonna keep going to the moon. I had a trading plan which was going to the higher time frames, determining my bias, looking for that reaction in that liquidity zone, seeing that change of character, looking for liquidity to be taken and then taking that trade up to equilibrium. So I had that trading plan, I followed it, I took a majority of my position out. I did let, profits run with my stops to break even, but that's the risk that I did. And because I was up, double than I usually was, it was a good payday for me. Okay, so now getting into the second position of the week that I was able to still capitalize on NASDAQ. We can hop over here to the broker. You can see here, this was the first position, which was that massive trade. Let's pop back over to the first page. We still were able to capitalize good on the second position right here. But if you go back and watch the recording, I actually did leave a decent amount of profits on the table, and we're gonna get into all that right now. If you hop out to the hourly, you can see here, this was the first position we just went over where we had that push down. It ended up consolidating, breaking structure, pulled back again, broke structure again, and then based upon this pullback on the lower time frames is why I actually wanted to get into position. So on the higher time frames, even though we're kind of consolidating here, I still have a bullish bias. Now hopping out of the 5-minute time frame after having that bullish bias, I saw it during New York session open. We had this big rally that ended up getting corrected, and we had exposed lows right here that I actually ended up wanting to get swept. We had this massive move to the upside and then instant kind of pullback with exposed lows. And if you guys don't know how I like to trade, I like looking for session lows and highs to be taken out for that liquidity to be used to then distribute back up in a certain direction. The way I talk about it on the live streams and to my mentor students is kind of like a slingshot. It's like price kind of this is kind of the handle. It's pulling back here like a slingshot to then boing, go back up. So I already had the bullish bias. I saw we had a massive move up during New York and then a pullback occurring with exposed lows with session lows sitting right here. Once I saw the hourly open, take out the session lows with no top wick, all I ended up waiting for was an indecision candle right here. It ended up closing bullish and I was like, you know what? If we break bullish highs after this Asian session liquidity sweep, I'm going to take a trade aiming to not only for these highs, but also the session highs because I still have that overall bullish bias. So I ended up getting the trade at that high, I ended up consolidating, boom, 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 and ended up flying exactly to where I ended up wanting, which was those highs up there. We're on the 5-minute, hold on. Gave it a second, it took some time, but we ended up reaching the final target, which is up here, and actually ended up, it ended up actually keep going up. Final targets ended up being hit on this big, massive move up. I ended up closing partials somewhere in this area up here. So you can see here, after all the consolidation, we ended up getting our final targets hit, which was the session highs. These equal highs were good ones to aim for, but overall, these session highs were the ones I was waiting for. Why? Because I had the bullish bias, we had the pullback to take out session lows. So the next place I was looking for liquidity sitting was, New York session highs. So this was just an example of another beautiful trade, looking for direction on higher time frames, looking for the pullbacks, looking for liquidity zones to be reacted to, looking for those quick reactions, then look for entries to take price up for certain levels, which for me on the second trade was session highs. On that last trade was that, that liquidation to then also take back up to equilibrium. Both trades had similar concepts, but they were unique in their own ways, looking for different reactions and also looking to take price at different levels. But overall, all we're doing is looking for direction on the higher time frame, looking for pullbacks into fib zones, then looking for liquidity zones to be taken out within those fib zones, quick change of characters, look for pullbacks in the supply and demand zones, and looking for the reaction to take it back up in our overall direction, which, for both these trades was bullish overall this week on NASDAQ. Thank you, NASDAQ, and thank you all for watching. This is how I was able to make $13,167 in 2 trading days. Like I said, you can see it all here. Live account up here. This is the exact account I've been using on all the live streams, on all my mentorship calls. You guys can come watch me every single week during London session on my Luca.NoLimit channel. So make sure you're subscribed so you can start coming and making profits like this with me every single week. If you want to start having $13,000 trading days, make sure you get my free ebook in the description. Click on it, register. I will send you an email with the link to it. I give you guys so many tips and also give you guys added confluences to my strategy on how you can go and start having days like this. Love you all. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you guys on the live streams. Peace out.